This is Garrison and Steven over at Bumsteads. We're gonna go over a few things about fixed gear freestyle and the things that have been changing a little bit. One of the big things that a lot of guys are putting on their bikes right now are BMX style cranks. There is one bad thing to BMX style cranks that a lot of people don't know about. You can't run just a normal BMX style crank like this with a boss bolt. One of the big things is fixed gear is putting a lot of tension on your cranks and your sprocket. So trying to put a normal style BMX crank doesn't actually work because of this bolt. If you look on normal BMX cranks, it is a bolt that actually holds the sprocket to the crank. With the tension, like I was saying before, this bolt actually strips out. We have a lot of friends that actually are constantly tightening their boss bolts every time they ride because it doesn't stay tight with the tension. The solution to that is a splined sprocket. What it actually is an insert into a sprocket that makes it splined like the spindle. It's 48 a splined spindle. It actually makes the sprocket connect to the spindle. So instead of spinning with the crank, it's actually spinning with the spindle, taking the tension off the bolt in general. There is no bolt. Some companies do aluminum inserts onto an aluminum sprocket, which strips out. So Steven's going to go over what you should really look for in a sprocket.
You really should be looking for something like these. These are from Profile. This is the Elite Spline sprocket. This has a steel insert on aluminum chainring. Profile, Demolition, they're doing a couple of different ones. Also, there's a brand called Tree Light. They're doing one too. So, Resist is another company that we're probably going to be getting some products from in the future. It's a new brand that's volume. And Demolition's kind of little fixed gear nephew. The cool part about having a spline sprocket is you can run no boss cranks. So here's my right crank arm, and if you look on this side also, there is no boss. So there's no bolt holes. You don't have another weld joint right here. You've seen people crack their boss this area. Also riding on fixed gear, we've even seen the aluminum in the chain rings start to ovalize, and this thing just slips all over the place. And it feels like your chain's not tight, and it's a bummer.
Another thing that we're doing on a lot of freestyle bikes that is converting over from BMX, and that is running pegs. A lot of guys now are running pegs on their fixed gears. We're doing ledges, we're grinding on rails, all kinds of stuff. A big thing that I want to point out to running pegs is actually having strong enough axles. Steven here actually runs the Profile hubs, which have a female axle, which helps just to have less tension on a peg. It keeps it from bending, snapping, whatever. When you're actually slamming onto ledges and rails, it helps. In the back, he's running just a normal Formula axle, which is just a straight, regular fixed gear axle. I've actually snapped through 2 of them, and this is also what else happens to a normal Formula axle.
With pegs.
With pegs. And that is probably after about a month of riding. There is a solution to it, and that's running Profile hubs, or we even have and this is the All City Sheriff hub. Same thing, goes to a female style axle, which means instead of an axle nut onto an external axle, the bolts actually thread into the hub, and you can kind of see what I'm doing, and there it is. This is still equipped with the aluminum insert. I'm actually going to be converting this to a steel insert just to give it that extra strength. A lot of guys run them on the aluminum. I'm choosing to switch it over to the steel. Hopefully it'll hold up. Stevens is holding up pretty well on the Profiles, but that's also Profile, double the money of a Sheriff. Profiles run about $200 for the rear hub. This runs about $100. Inexpensive, but at the same time gives you the strength to run a peg.